Welcome to FUS Unitarian Society of Minneapolis, the birthplace of Congregational Humanism. We carry on that tradition of free thought today, dedicated to promoting a free search for truth, meaning, and justice. Our web address is fusunitarian.org. I'm David Breeden, Senior Minister. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone, everywhere. Welcome to FUS Unitarian Society on this special Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. We are so delighted you are with us today. FUS Unitarian Society is a member congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. Our programming is on-site live, online live, and on demand 24/7. I'm the Reverend Kelly Clement, your outgoing assistant minister. I'm joined today by all the people. Member Drew Bakius, who is serving as our Master of Ceremonies. Mike Vazich, our music director, the Reverend Dr. J. Exodus Hooper, our Director of Religious Education, and our incoming summer minister. Several special guest speakers and musicians, and of course, the man of the hour, the Reverend Dr. David Breeden, in his last Sunday service before retirement. What a special day. Wherever you are, will you turn to your right or left and say, I am so happy you're here today.
I'm so happy you're here. Come on, family fam. Look at you. We're here. Come on, freedom is coming for these ministers.
Welcome everyone to this place of love and justice, where we attempt to name and to live up to humanity's highest ideals and highest hopes. Do we fail? Often. Do we get up and try again? Always. So glad to be here together today.
All right. Hey, all right. We begin our service today by lighting the chalice, and if you will say with me the words to our third aspiration. We aspire to pursue wisdom through reason, science, art, and the stories of civilizations.
And I would like to invite each of us, as you're able, please stand with me as we recite the Congregational Covenant this morning. Words right up here for us. Love is the spirit of this place, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Thank you so much. Go ahead and find your seat if you'd like. So as it's been alluded to, in case we haven't caught all of the notes just yet, today is a rather special day. Bittersweet, I think we could call it, right? Exciting, and yet farewells are never the easiest. But we have much to celebrate and remember and look forward to, and all kinds of great things. And David, we celebrate with you today. It was August 15th of 2013 when the Reverend Dr. David Breeden first came and joined us here at the FUS Unitarian Society of Minneapolis as Senior Minister. And we celebrate that today. Yes. "10 years, 10 months, a week and a day that this chapter has lasted. And now today that chapter gets wrapped up and comes to a conclusion. So as we remember, as we celebrate today, this decade-long chapter of Rev David and of his work and leadership and ministry here at FUS, we have so much to celebrate, so much to be thankful and grateful for. And while the chapter is concluding today, the celebration really is just getting started, all right? So as we kickstart further into this morning and this day and all that we have and all that it represents, we're going to start off with a little bit of fun. Do we like having a little bit of fun? So, I'm curious what kinds of things we might know and what kinds of things we might not know about this great human standing or sitting in our presence right now, all right? So, we might well be aware already, we could very well be aware, most likely we are, that this was not the first congregation that Rev David served as minister. We might also not be that surprised that prior to being a minister at all, he was a college professor. I mean, have we heard a single talk this man has ever given, right? What we might not realize, though, is that even prior to that, rather than Reverend Doctor, he went by DJ David, all right?
Come on, yes, DJ.
As a disc jockey, laying them tracks, all right? We all know and love, if we haven't met yet, you need to get with the program. We all know and love Teresa, David's spouse of 15 years this year. We may know of David's 3 adult children, Audrey, Jessica, and Patrick. What we might not know is some of these other lesser known facts that I'd like to share with you, if I may, all right? So, I sent David some time ago a list of favorites, fun facts, if you will, okay? I'm going to list them off. As I do, if you think you know the answer, then go ahead and just shout out what your proposed answer is. I'm not necessarily going to slow down and wait for you, but let's just throw it out, okay? So, yes, absolutely. All right, so here's where it becomes a bit of a social media relationship contest. How well does she know her own spouse? But yes, so David's favorite food.
Carrot cake.
Popcorn. All right. David's favorite beverage.
Beer.
Yes, specifically local beer. He's a loyalist to the Twin Cities, okay? David's favorite color. The man in black right here. Favorite color, black. All right. David's favorite movie, Metropolis. All right. Metropolis. David's favorite cartoon character, Kenny. From a certain park, I think, where it tends to be all muffled up, right? So, yeah, connect those dots. All right, go Kenny, go. It might not be any surprise at all who David's favorite musician is. Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan. His favorite author, Virginia Woolf. His favorite book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. His favorite poet, Emily Dickinson, yes. That's good. Teresa was feeling the pressure. I got to get one of these right. His favorite poem, however, The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Favorite city. Okay, now don't get too offended here, okay? Chicago, yes. As someone who spent the vast majority of my adult existence in Chicago as well, I'm sorry, I can't fault you for that. Yeah, no, okay. But then I also asked him, what's your favorite topic to speak on? Preach on, this old Pentecostal. What's your favorite hobby horse, pet subject to preach on? And it is capitalism. Specifically the evils of which, all right?
Yes, indeed.
Favorite FUS memory? All the solstices. Favorite, let's see. Anything you're most proud of from your decade here at FUS? And that was the Capitol campaign. Look at all you brought into being or helped lead the way into being, okay? What, I asked Rev David, what is it you're most going to miss about FUS? The people. You do know him well. The people. Each of you. Us. What is it you're most looking forward to about retirement?
Reading and writing.
Writing. How many books are in the back burner? We'll see. So we might all be very well aware that Rev David is a prolific author. And so there's just one question that I asked that he refused to answer. I asked him, of your own books, which one is your favorite? Okay, I'm teeing you up, David, to give us all a recommendation, and suddenly the sales go skyrocketing. He refused to answer it. So you know the only right, correct, proper response is then. We each go buy all of them, all right? Yeah, in the bookstore, right? Folks and family, we have much to celebrate today and a variety of components to help us do so. A variety of things planned for this morning. Some of it is, a bit more fun and lively. Others are going to be more serious, more, shall we say, sober-minded. All of it, though, is going to be things that are celebratory. As we tip our proverbial hats to this human here who has so powerfully shaped us over this past decade. As individuals, as a community, as a nonprofit organization, and especially even beyond ourselves, as a movement. We tip our hats to this man. And so as we get started, I do want to take a moment to thank two powerhouse individuals for their months' worth of behind-the-scenes work in making today happen. Their fingerprints are over all of this, and not just only today's celebration, but also our farewell celebration of Rev Kelly a couple weeks ago. These two individuals spent months planning both of these celebrations today. Martha Hardesty and Michael Pileggi, would you at least give us a wave or maybe even stand up? Thank you so much for today. Thank you for this. Thank you. A variety of special guests join us here today, and I'd like to mention some of them now. In just a short while, we're going to hear from Barb Brooks right here. Barb, our very own Barb Brooks, back with us today. Needs no introduction for the vast majority of us, but for any others, Barb served as FUS music director for 33 years, retiring in 2021. She is a frequent accompanist and teacher, and we welcome her back to tickle these ivory keys here this morning. Thank you, Barb. And now for our next segment. In just a moment, I'd like to invite Rabbi Marcia Zimmerman in just a moment to come up here and join us. Rabbi Zimmerman is the senior rabbi of Temple Israel, a 6,000-member congregation in Minneapolis, right here with us. She takes seriously the words that are engraved above the entrance of Temple Israel, reading, "Our house shall be a house of prayer for all peoples." Rev David and Rabbi Marcia have served for 10 years together as members of the downtown clergy group. Rabbi Marcia, I want to thank you for joining us today, and please come up and lead us.
That shoe, Jesus.
Thank you. I
am representing not only Temple Israel and myself, but all of the senior clergy of the congregations that line Hennepin Avenue and into the north side and downtown. We meet every month for breakfast, so I know David Breeden. I know so much about him because we share our lives, we share our children's lives, our families' lives, and I have grown to love him as every senior clergy of the downtown congregations have done so. And so I am honored to be here as a representative of that group. And of course, in my own right, a rabbi of Temple Israel. It is important for us to note that that quote is from the book of Isaiah, which is an important book for us. And it is an important book because it tells us how to live in a world that is torn by violence and pain. And so, for all of you with such an esteemed history of being the first Unitarian Society community, of being clearly a historic congregation. For any of us who go through retirement and leave a congregation, we just hope, and my hope is for you, the Reverend Doctor, that your work continues beyond your presence here, that the projects and programs that you have championed continue through the people who are sitting in the pews. It is up to you now.
Come on.
In addition to your clergy who will continue in the future. It is your congregation, it is your community, and it is your work that will bring this historic congregation into the future. And I think if any congregation knows it, you all do. So today is the goodbye of a senior clergy person. I love that the goodbye says good twice. I'm going to play with words.
You better come on.
I am going to play with words. The good. The last time I read that good was in the book of Genesis. On the fourth day, Yom Revi'i, it says good.
Yeah.
And in the Jewish community, the fourth day is Tuesday. And so we get married on Tuesday because good twice means extra good. So this is an extra good day with cheers because the human reality is that good is being authentic. And so when we're sad, we cry. When we're happy, we laugh. Sometimes we cry and laugh. Sometimes we smile and cry.
Yeah.
It is the mixture of emotions that make us human and an antidote to AI.
Say that.
That part.
All right. So I want to talk about the double gifts. You talk about a decade, but David says he's been here for 11 years, so I'm going to take the double one. I'm going to take the double of good and the double of one and say we can all wrap it up into a beautiful gift because he has given you double gifts without question. He is a man of words and a man of his word, and that is doubly good. You can trust others some of the time, but be trustworthy 100% of the time. David Breeden is trustworthy 100% of the time. He lives by the words. He communicates with the pen to paper.
Yeah, God.
And for all of us in the downtown congregations, when we have something to be written in the Star Tribune or in our bulletins, we turn to the Reverend Dr. Breeden because we know they will come out clearly, authentically, and deeply. Bye of the goodbye. Actually, I just found out, in golf terms, I don't know if you know this, because I don't play golf, I'll tell you that much. It is about advancing in a tournament without playing an opponent. You have no opponents in retirement. The game of golf or tennis or life is now yours with an open book. I don't know, again, if you all understand, but we go home and worry about you. It is never a stress-free life as a clergy member.
Yeah.
That's why you feel so held and so safe. Because we take our communities home with us. When you are brokenhearted, when you have health issues, we take it home with us to be with you. And in retirement, it is now that sense of freedom, a bit of letting go. He will always love you, but there will be others who will carry you, and you will carry each other. And so, as a rabbi, I bring the words of the book of Numbers, a blessing that has been said for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So I hope you understand that these words are given with the utmost love, with the utmost admiration for the devotion and love that this man has given to all of you, and I feel blessed that I have been in the circle of that love as well. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and may God keep you, Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yechuneka. May the divine spirit rest upon you. May your words grow in number and in depth and in care. May they continue to share the beauty of your thoughts and your hopes and dreams of your hearts. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God and the divine spirit, the wellspring that comes from all of us, may it truly bring you a blessing of wholeness and a blessing of peace. May it be the divine's will. And so I end with shalom, salam, and peace from our interfaith community. Thank you.
Hello. Just very quick words here. I remember, my name is Barb Brooks, by the way, I'm the former music director. I remember when I asked a member of the search committee if the new minister, David Breeden, was a music lover, and did he like classical music? I knew that David was a poet, so I figured there was a good chance he loved the arts in general. And of course he did. One of my loveliest memories of working with David involved crafting music Sundays as a marriage of music and poetry, befitting the morning's theme and journey. I love David's poetry and the insight and sensitivity he added to the morning. And what a brilliant speaker. He challenged us, and he was a gift to this congregation and community. Humble, rare, and deeply gifted. Thank you, David, for your intelligence, quirkiness, and above all, commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of all peoples of the earth. David wrote while listening often to classical music, most notably the wonderful French composer Eric Satie. This piece is dedicated to you, David. You will be dearly missed.
Thank you. Thank you, Barb.
First Unitarian Society is a congregational humanist community. We are here for each other, for our neighbors, and for our planet. And when we gather on Sundays, we take a few moments to reflect on the human experience, on the joys and the sorrows and the milestones of what it means to be human beings and human community. We do this so that we stay in touch with our own humanity, and we do this to remind ourselves and each other the value of a moment of stillness. We have a couple of life events in our community to mention today. We send our loving and healing thoughts to Wendy Jerome, who has suffered some losses in her family. In the last 2 months, they have lost David Summer and his sister, Diana Davies, as well as Diana's daughter, Maya. David died earlier in the summer, and Diana and her daughter, Maya, died a couple of weeks ago in a house fire in Robbinsdale. Quite tragic. Diana and David grew up at FUS. He became a mathematician, a computer whiz, and a devoted tennis player. She worked designing computer programs and was a super grandmother. Maya was studying to teach ESL. The family will be celebrating all these lives in the fall. And we learned that last week on June 13th, longtime FUS member Virginia Jenny Gross died. The family will be planning a memorial service here at FUS in August, so keep your eye out for news of that. Now we take a few moments to reflect on those in our world who work to comfort the suffering and who work for justice.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Well, as if this hasn't been a whole experience already, we have a few more folks that we're going to hear from here in these next few minutes as they also share some highlights of David, his life, his work, their relationship with him, so on and so forth. So 4 individuals, 2 of them we're used to seeing pretty regular up here on the platform almost every week already. We're used to seeing, of course, Reverend Kelly Clement and Reverend Dr. J. Exodus Hooper up here on the platform. They're going to be 2 of the 4 individuals here sharing in a moment. Rev Kelly has served as assistant minister of FUS for almost as long as David's been senior minister. And while we had an incredible farewell celebration for her a couple weeks ago, this also is her final Sunday here today with us as well. Reverend Jay currently serves FUS as Director of Lifelong Learning and is just about to begin as the summer minister here as well. And Jay is going to be leading us, I think, in words and ritual here shortly. We're also going to hear from Audrey Kingstrom, who serves as program director and board member of our sister organization, Humanists of Minnesota, in addition to being an FUS member right here as well. But first, we're going to hear from George Hutchinson, who just wrapped up a 4-year stint as chair of the FUS Board of Trustees, and as such, has spent much time working closely with Rev David in shared leadership of this congregation. George, please come and share with us.
All right.
Thank you, Drew. Well, good morning, friends. You know my name is George Hutchinson, and I'm also recently retired as chair of Board of Trustees. And as a recent retiree, I've been asked to share a few reflections about another retired person, or about to be retired person. We here at FUS like to think we are all about big ideas. Ideas like human problems have human solutions. You only get one bite at the apple of life. You were born perfect. Racism is a social construct, and so on. These big ideas are imagination's highest aspirations, but they balance on the tentacles planted firmly in our lizard brains. Since 1881, this particular organization, the First Unitarian Society, has found common purpose in promoting these and other apparently radical notions. We aspire to support one another in the here and now as we promote these big ideas, and we try to set an example for the larger community. It's a tough job. There are a lot of nearly irresistible appeals to that lizard brainstem that appear in social media, so-called news reports, and for a few of us, the Dead Tree edition of the local papers. Hunter S. Thompson documented this in his 1971 book, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. A more recent exemplar is the 2016 presidential election. There seem to be more and more panic triggers worming their way into our consciousness, so how do we respond? Well, we send for the poets. From the Mississippi Delta all the way upriver to Mill City, we've been privileged over these past 10 years plus, 11, we'll go for 11, to have among us a poet, a scholar, a farmer, a teacher, a leader, a humanist, and a friend. By his own admission, Rev. David is a Dao De Jing junkie. So here's the thing. If you write this stuff down, these ideas, other people are at risk of picking up your book and reading about them, so I'm just saying. The Dao De Jing is, quote, an infuriating text. It turns the obvious on its head, claiming that the culturally conditioned response is wrong, out of balance with the way of the universe. He goes on to assert that, quote, the wisdom of the Dao De Jing lies in its simple evocation of the ways of nature, which, by the way, Western culture seems to have forgotten, or more likely, suppressed to justify the relentless exploitation of other people. The most profound lesson of the Dao De Jing, according to Rev. David, is what it does not say. This is, of course, the sound of the dog that does not bark. Quote, the Dao De Jing does not claim that the universe has meaning or purpose. The lizard brain awakens to such news as this. Dang. One of David's oft-repeated assertions is that, quote, people are more important than ideas. Sit with us for just a moment. People are more important than ideas. Now, I've picked on this statement several times. As biological entities, we people are the vessels of ideas. Our big mammal brains, second only to the dolphins, invented this notion. I'm not sure about the dolphins, but the discussion of this has been going on around here for some time now, roughly 10 years, I think. Our ancestors invented this institution to convey ideas like this into our futures. A Taoist might listen to the silence in search of meaning. A naturalist might think that this obvious truth grows from close observation of nature and the cosmos. A certain leader of this congregation has put these ideas in front of us over the past 10 years. Have we made any progress in our search? We are about to embark on a mission to find new leadership. We're going to flip over a few rocks, knock over an anthill or two, and figure out what comes next. I will miss the down-to-earth style and humor that David has brought to the conversation. I will miss the keen eye for the opportunity David has consistently provided. And I will miss the trust and friendship that has made my time on the board and as a member of this congregation a journey of curiosity. We are, as a congregation now and always will be, a fragile endeavor. We are supposed to hold on to what is good. We are assisted by able and willing leadership in this journey. We share what we believe by our participation and our contributions. Each week presents a present moment that enables the next moment to become real. This is the big idea that I believe keeps our weekly recitation, the fire of commitment, alive for our descendants. That, and of course, some new kitchen equipment so that we can continue to prepare and serve lunch, because after all, food is what makes this all happen. So thank you very much. Good morning.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
David, it's already been said that you're going to be missed. And as for me, a leader in the local secular humanist community, I am really going to miss you. You have been a friend and colleague in this work of building the larger humanist movement. Ever since you arrived at FUS, you have been a champion for humanism, centering our humanist heritage here at FUS and also bringing greater visibility to the larger humanist movement, and recognizing the importance of connecting with humanists of all stripes here locally and across the country. By paying attention to the rise of the nuns, those who are no longer affiliate with any religious tradition, David, you have sought to make this place more welcoming to atheists, agnostics, and religious apatheists, as a friend of mine here likes to call herself. And of course, a welcoming place for free thinkers, seekers, and garden variety UUs. To some, it may seem insignificant or not particularly important, but you have helped reframe our messaging here at FUS to embrace this shifting religious landscape of that ever-growing demographic of the nuns. In identifying FUS as the home of Congregational Humanism, we now invite people on Sunday mornings to hear an entertaining, enlightening, and/or inspirational talk, and to experience community through singing some songs together. You have delighted and educated us with your engaging talks, continually reminded us that as humans, as George has already said, it's well ingrained in us, you did a good job, we alone can solve human problems, and challenged us to do what makes each of us come alive. And David, well, again, as George has already said, you always admonish us that people matter more than ideas, as exemplified by your friendship with Rabbi Marcia. You have been forward-looking in reaching out to other humanist groups. You have especially been a friend to Humanists MN, eager to have us use the building, understanding the synergy possible by supporting fellow humanist organizations. With your leadership here, I have felt comfortable bringing Humanists MN to FUS and letting its members know that FUS is a welcoming place for secular humanists. And yes, I could safely tell them that FUS was like a church for atheists, agnostics, and non-theists. And even though few of these secularists are inclined to show up here on a Sunday morning, because of Humanists MN programming here in this building on the first Saturday of each month for Secular Saturdays, and our guest speaker series on the third Saturdays of the month, all of which you have embraced and endorsed and welcomed, more and more of Humanists MN members are getting comfortable with this place, really liking our facility and the shared work we might do here together, and want to keep renting space. You have been a steadfast partner to Humanists MN, and I certainly hope we don't lose that good relationship with your departure. Throughout your tenure at FUS, you have also been an educator for the Humanist Studies program administered by the American Humanist Association, teaching future humanist leaders. In fact, last May of 2023, David was recognized by the American Humanist Association when he received their Distinguished Service Award at their 82nd annual conference in Denver, Colorado. No doubt, David, your reach throughout the wider humanist world is more than I am aware of. But it is my hope that just because you are retiring from your official duties as our humanist leader and reverend, you will remain an active thinker and writer, and perhaps still a bit of a mover and shaker in the larger humanist movement. My very best wishes for your retirement as you settled into a more balanced paced life. But I hope you keep thinking and writing and speaking for humanism. The world still needs your voice.
Well, I got to say a few words about my own tenure here a few weeks ago, and how David said, you want to come work with the humanists. And he said, I was more of a theist. He said, are you going to be okay with these humanists? And I thought, yeah, I'll be okay. And then a few years later, I thought, will they be okay? Yeah, they'll be okay. We're all okay. It has been a distinct pleasure to serve as a part of the staff of First Unitarian Society. And I tell anyone who will listen what an awesome staff we have.
Yes,
and this is part of David's genius, is hiring good people who know their work and setting them free to do that work.
Ashe.
It has been, we are close. We enjoy each other's company. Our meetings are now all on Zoom, and we wish we could be in person more often. We will be for our final staff meeting this week. But it is a delight to be with people who enjoy the work that we do. And David says, yes, if you have an idea, I want to try a thing. I want to try a different kind of music Sunday. I want to try challenging the law in Minnesota. I want to try a different way to address media or education or whatever it is, or finance or whatever we have happening. I want to organize the building in a new way. David says yes. Mm-hmm. And that makes it a distinct joy to be a part of the leadership of this congregation. So that I will take with me, and as I move into senior leadership, that is a lesson that you have taught me that I will take into my next space. David and I don't always agree on humanism or theism or theology, and we have very good conversations, and you have always been open to new ideas and new ways to think of things. And never have I experienced that you wanted all the glory for yourself. You are so sharing of what happens. And that ain't always true for a senior minister and an assistant minister. So I very much appreciate that. David has sometimes wanted to have some music in assembly, and I didn't think that it was quite appropriate for assembly type music. And as we know, I have a little bit of a controlling streak. I'm working on it. And this particular song, I think he snuck in a Sunday or two when I wasn't here, but this is for you, David. She walks these hills in a long black veil. She visits my grave when the night winds wail. Nobody knows, nobody sees, nobody knows but me. Thank you, David.
You finally helped me get it in. Thank you. All right.
All right. It is wonderful to be here. As always, it is always great to be here. And what a day. What a day. I know we've been kind of silent for a minute, but can I ask you just to say this word with me? Ashe. Ashe. Again, ashe. Ashe. Again, ashe. Ashe. When I say life to you, some of you have greeted me before and I've said life to you. That is actually the ashe. I want to bring this into a full circle because there is no way to talk about David without talking about, particularly we can talk about the fact that he was a minister, that he was a pastor, that he was a professor, he worked for colleges. I had to sit with the fact that David, yeah, we have a Pentecostal experience, but I need to go past that. What do you do when you go past that? You go to the farm. You go to the farm. You go to the farm because there's a lot of things that happen on a farm. And when we look up the Greek word for farm, it holds the term yo agros, which means farmer in translation. But in the Greek, it actually means earth worker.
There you go.
And so it would be would be hard for me not to do this today. I could go on about how David has mentored me. Y'all have heard all of the things. But I need to get to what I felt was necessary, the character. And so I want to offer this particular Yoruba adaptation today for our service. This ritual is, and celebration is towards David, because when I met David, you know, it was interesting because I've always watched him talk about ideas. And he always talked about people, though, attached to these ideas, but he knew that people came first. This is a characteristic of an Orisha by the name of Obatalao. Obatalao is a spirit, African wisdom, deity, if you will, whichever. I just want to be very clear that Western ideology around a deity coming in and swooping and saving the day is not African-based tradition. Our deities do not do that. Basically, you can kind of think about a little bit like Kant, where he was a deist. So his idea was like, kind of God threw the world up, and then it was our responsibility to take care of it, right? So it's our responsibility to take care of it. And this is the way that we can kind of think about this moment. David has, in some way, often shared with me creation by giving me ideas. I define myself oftentimes as David's brainchild. Anything that he could think of, I could grab and be like, what can we do? How can we do it? The freedom that Kelly speaks about is the very thing that I live for. It is my liberation. So if you wonder why I probably don't act the way that everybody else is acting, it's because I have the freedom to be an idea. I am a free thought.
Yep.
Right? I'm a free thought. I get to take on a free form and be authentic and be me. I am a brainchild. I'm a product of a brain master. And this is very unique. I want to just offer this. Obatalao is the shaper of humanity in African stories. In one particular series, he actually has a moment where he's drinking too much plum wine.
Oh, dear.
And he's been given the task to create and shape these human beings. And as he is making these figures, these beautiful human beings, he gets so excited, he keeps drinking. And some of them begin to not have ears. And they can't hear. Some of them are not able to see. And this is one of the most unique cosmologies because it actually entails disability stories.
Yep. Yep.
Obatalao is one who seeks justice and balance after this for all people of difference, all people who either are faced with marginalized identities. This is Obatalao's story. This resonates with me because this is the David I know, who can look at people and find balance, who will offer an idea and set a clear standard, who will do whatever needs to be done to ensure. Now, the funny thing about Obatalao in the story is also, at one point, mortal, human, walking around. And at some point in time, he decides to allow for humanity to run its course. I invite you now to just let David allow for y'all to run your course. We've got some transformation to do, and I want to do this well. So I'm going to set up just really fast. These shrines can be somewhat elaborate in African-based traditions. I've asked David to prepare himself for a few things. I do ask that you also in this moment hold David in deep tenderness, because some things we don't know might come, but I want to allow for us as a community to share in it. David has done enough of the me search, and I feel like we have done enough we search that we can do this together. Are we clear? Am I clear for that? Yes. Awesome. So, David, can I have you come over here with me?
All right.
My friend,
All right.
my father, my mentor. All right.
All right.
You good? You good? You can step closer. You can step closer to it.
All right.
Yeah. This is yours to hold.
I hold this, okay.
You're going to hold this. These are the ancestors that I need you to name. I need you to name the ones that have shaped you and pour them into here.
Mary,
Mary,
Marion,
Marion,
Sherman,
Sherman,
Jesse,
Jesse,
Nancy. I'm trying to remember great
Nancy's,
grandparents.
that's all-
Great-grandparents.
that's all right.
Yeah, okay.
That's who we need.
Yep. The Kieslers,
useless.
Hillbilly Breedens,
The hillbilly breeders.
and of course, my greatest mentor, the brother Van, the great Pentecostal who was shot, left for dead, and then found Jesus.
Everybody say Ashe. For those that you have created you with love.
I am far, far from my ancestors' bones. We've been planted in the same place for 160 years. And I will go back there in my ash state.
Okay.
A little easier to haul than I am right now.
All right. This one is for you.
I'm grateful for all I've been able to do and still make a living doing it.
Ashe. Ashe, everybody. Ashe. May I take this from you, my friend? I am going to take the moment with your own blessing. Kelly, can you pass me that shea butter, please? I'm going to bless your face. You know, the sweat of the brow is a very serious thing in some cultures. You bless the beard because that's where the sweat was. Hard work drips off the beard. When we became too elitist after a while and educated, we started shaving. Your hands, please. Now you can take a break and rest these hands. Now I know they're going to be typing. But just like any good farmer, you do work with your hands as well as you work with your head and your heart. I'm going to soften your hands now. Shea butter is a symbolization of comfort. If you notice, everything is white up here. It is because Obatalaw's colors are white. And it is to soften your journey going forward. That your hands be used with sincere gentleness going forward to touch further community, to continue to share love, compassion with others. And we thank you for your service. Lastly, in the creation story of Obatalawa, he does come with a hen. He comes with a hen to start the world. If you don't mind grabbing that, this is coconut water. This is normally something that we share as a way to symbolize the breaking of something new in the earth. May you drink with me. Thank you. David, I offer you the opportunity to take the formation that you see in this mirror. This is for you to look at yourself, reflect, and now you will flip that mirror and you can put it down there. Everybody, that's exactly who we should see. We are a reflection of you. You are a reflection of us. Spirit of Ubuntu, we say, I am because we are. We are because I am. And so I thank you for allowing for us to be you. For us to enjoy that freedom of embodiment. For us to constantly keep seeking justice in this congregation. For us to operate in a wisdom and a deep, profound knowing of self-worth and integrity that also we want others to feel in this world. We thank you so much. So I just wanted to offer you that.
Thank you.
I would just like to take the opportunity to thank the Reverend Doctor for bringing me on to the staff of Merry Mischief Makers here 9.5 years ago. And I prefer to use other people's words and music to express my thoughts. I've heard it said that people come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led by those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true. But I know I'm who I am today because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun. Like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, been changed for good. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now, whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea. Like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the things I've done you blame me for. But then I guess we know there's blame to share, and none of it seems to matter anymore. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun, like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe we have been changed for the better. And because we knew you, because we knew you, because we knew you, we have been changed for good.
I won't hug you. You don't want to stay better on your toe. Thank you. Oh, my. Yeah, we didn't hire him because he could sing, but that sure was a good thing to find. I want to thank everyone who's made today possible, the staff and the planners, Martha and Michael. Thank you so much for doing that. An old joke says that Unitarian ministers are invisible 6 days a week and incomprehensible on the seventh. I hope I've done slightly better than that in my time here. A deep conviction of mine is that any clear idea can be said clearly, and no foggy idea can be said without some fog. I like the old phrase, never buy a pig in a poke. Now, I don't know what your dialect calls a poke, sack, bag, whatever, but where I'm from, it's a poke sack. Never buy a pig in a poke, because you can't see that pig in there. For me, buying a god or gods or a religious tradition is just like that. The Jewish philosopher Spinoza said, Deus sive natura, to describe his faith, God or nature. Call it what you wish. God or nature. Either or, both are pigs in a poke, however. If you buy the Deus, the God side of things, you're buying a pig in a poke. You're buying a story that someone else, some other tradition is trying to sell you. That's fine, as long as you realize two things about that. One, you're never going to see the pig in that sack. And two, you're committing yourself to listening more than you can talk. If you buy the natura, the nature pig, in a poke, you commit to never knowing all the answers. Each time you try it, you just don't know. It's mysterious. Now, each of you hold that flame that from the beginning has been about burning it all down, frankly. Burning down the traditions, burning down the gods, and looking as new humans in a new light, in a new way of being, as if we are the first people alive, even though we do respect those old traditions. That doesn't mean that systems of oppression are not real and damaging. What it does mean is that human beings can fix all of our mistakes. It's all human mistakes, all the way down. A medieval story tells of the wisest man who ever lived, the old man of the mountain, Hassan-i-Sabah, who was a Shiite Muslim. The story goes that on his deathbed, his disciples came to him and said, "What is the great secret of life, Master?" He is reported to have said, "Nothing is true. Everything is permitted."
Now, that's a real nihilistic way to say the truth that we know. Every senior minister who stood in this podium has said the same as Hassan Isabah. You decide. But all of us have also added this caveat. Each of us, merely by the dint of being human, must act for the good of all humanity. That's a basic requirement of being born. As many of you know, I often go back to the Hebrew story of Eve and Adam. I always say, you can't go wrong with the story of two naked people and a snake. But this central humanistic truth is that Adam feared and Eve snatched it. The fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, which is this, after you bite it, we are the creators of the gods, of the stories, and of what is good and evil on this planet. Our intuitions, our convictions, we are the creators. We are the storytellers. It is human stories all the way down. As with all sacred knowledge, this must be held both firmly and lightly. Firmly in that it is foundational to the humanist way of knowing. Lightly in that we must not become fundamentalists about it. Ours is not the one way of knowing. Ours is not the only way of knowing. Ours is merely our way of knowing. Despite the best efforts of Christianity to suppress our knowledge through the centuries, we have continued to stare down the serpent. We have continued in the pursuit of truths only human beings can discover. My own story is that I'm a toothless old hillbilly. I'm old and I'm missing teeth. And everybody my age where I come from is missing some of them. I'm a farmer from the Ozarks. My professional ambitions in life have been, number one, getting a job indoors in the air conditioning. Number two, being a poet, even though that will not buy groceries. 3 has been trying to figure out religion. And 4 has been what is beyond religion. Where is the human in religion? These ambitions led to how I've been able to earn my keep in the world, teaching and preaching. Both were byproducts of my poetry addiction, I have to admit, but have proved to be both lucrative enough and enjoyable enough through my life. And I hope I've done more good than harm in both of those disciplines I've pursued. We all get some time on this planet, every one of you. Everyone is unique. Everyone deserves to be who they are. Perhaps you have a short time on the planet, perhaps a bit longer. But in living, an hour can feel like forever. You may be feeling that right now. But a lifetime, when you look back, any of us older folks can tell you it feels like a minute. It goes so fast. As a plot with what's left out of the good old biblical 70, that's 70, I'm looking at it. What I hope to write about is the wrestling, what it feels like to be human. And only I know what I feel like being human, and only you know your story and what you feel like being human. That's how I want to end my life, is writing some poetry about attempting to live a spiritual life, whatever that means. My experience comes from a very different time in a very different place. Nature regularly clears the decks, if you will, of us older folk and replaces us. That is the wisdom of nature, and I question it, but there's nothing we can do about it. For everything there's a season, wrote that Hebrew teacher in Ecclesiastes. For everything there's a season. It's the most humanist book in Hebrew scripture, I think. And a time for every purpose under heaven. My purpose here has been to weep, to laugh, to mourn, and to dance, as the Ecclesiastes says, with you for this little while. The human sharing of human life, I believe, is the best purpose under heaven. The human sharing of human life. And I thank you all for sharing it with me for this time. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Nasser Puladian, and again, my wife, Martha Hardesty, gave me this to read, so I'm going to read it. It says, this is presented to David in gratitude for powerful philosophies, the realistic calls to action, and the wonderful farm stories that she really liked. You have shared through these years together. Thank you.
Oh, may I open it?
Please.
Yes. Oh, I see. Oh, my. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This is a little bit how she made it. I'll just put it on.
Okay, well, especially with the shea butter, I may be a little slippery here.
We all get to sing a little song, not so familiar to us, but I'm going to sing it once through and then you join in.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Wow, what a morning, what a day thus far. And this is what we all get to make sure continues on. This chapter is wrapping up. There are so many more chapters for David ahead and for all of us ahead, and we now live forth into them. First Unitarian Society is, as we are all well aware, a free, independent, self-governing, congregational humanist community. We are able to bring we, you and I, us. We are able to bring a message of justice and of hope to the world around us because of our generosity. Our generosity as members, as friends, in community, and as everything in community is done, in our contribution, collaboration of time, treasure, and talent. Many of us give regularly, all the time, bending over backwards. There's always more opportunity, though, okay? You can scan the QR code that is right there. Scan the QR code on the screen, which will take you to our giving page. This is for the treasure component of time, talent, and treasure. There you will find several easy ways to contribute to our mission, including a link to our online giving form. Those of you in the building here today who would like to contribute cash or one of those paper things called a check, you can do so at the office across the way here. But seriously, thank you all for making First Unitarian Society of Minneapolis and our mission possible. All right, now I think, Rev Kelly, you have some announcements and
gosh,
maybe
it
some
goes
instructions.
on and
There's
on.
more. We're not done yet, right?
Thank you, Drew. Thank you for being our MC today. We've already let the kitchen know that we're going long. It's like a Baptist service up here. No, we're not even close to, yes. For those of you who are joining us online, we hope you have a delicious lunch waiting for you. Here in the building, we hope you will join us downstairs for conversation and our mini meal and a big celebratory party. Today we have terrific taco bar, Mexican huevos shakshuka, and cakes of celebration and farewell. Party, lots of celebration. Please greet David downstairs. And there are books and tchotchkes. David and I have both been cleaning out our offices. And so in the lobby downstairs, the outer assembly hall lobby, you'll find lots of tchotchkes from David's office and books from both of us. So please take them. Please. Tim says, please take them. Will you come and extinguish the chalice one last time?
And if you will join me in our extinguishing the chalice words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
Well, I know Rev David would encourage Breeden not to keep anybody from the mini meal. So we're going to move right on into the end of the service here. This song is a song of thanks, a fun one for Rev David. Thank you for being a friend. It's been a pleasure to work with you, David, for the last 2 years. I could have kept this relationship going, working with you for many more, but I'm very thankful for these two. And I hope to keep in touch and see you around Golden Valley. This is a participatory song. All of us, I know, want to thank Rev David for being a friend to us. So as you hear the opportunity to, I want to thank you, please please feel free to direct that over and over and over towards Rev David during this song. So my friend Deanna's here to sing this with fun. Thank you for being a friend.
I'd surely
Thank you, everyone, for being a friend. Old farmers don't cry, so I'm not doing that. Go out into the world. Be fearless. Ask questions. Hold on to what is good. Strengthen the weak. Comfort the fearful. Serve the suffering. Do what makes you come alive. Because, as the great Howard Thurman said, we need more people who have come alive. Rejoice in the power of the human spirit. So may it be.